All right, good afternoon, everyone. So today I have the honor to introduce a wonderful gentleman and story about his life. And it actually came to us in a kind of unique way. For those of you that know me, I really enjoy going to farmers markets and seeing what all the local growers have. And one afternoon, while going to pick up some kale and all kinds of fun things, there was a musician playing at the local farmers market. And he had some great tunes, and we were really enjoying ourselves. And in one of his transitions, he mentioned how St. Luke's had impacted his life. And right there I was like, oh my goodness, here I am, and it's public, and there's this wonderful story and this wonderful gentleman. And so I'm really excited to share with you his story. Jeffrey Scott Stewart is a singer and songwriter here in Houston. He actually grew up in Southern California and spent many years in Nashville, Tennessee. But he has had music in all kinds of different places, TV, movie, also had about 17 different albums published throughout his career. His skill set goes from everything from country to rockabilly and everything in between. And he also has quite a talent for musical instruments. If you saw out in the foyer, there's kind of one of everything. I don't think I have ever seen anyone have so much talent. And so with that, I would like to introduce Jeffrey Scott Stewart to tell us his story and his heart.
Hello. On November 8th, 2014, I was lying in bed sick. I had been diagnosed 3 times since that August with bronchitis that never really went away. And now I was also diagnosed with the flu. My wife called out to me that one of our 4 house cats had escaped through a window, so I got up and I ran out to retrieve the cat. When I came back to the bedroom, it all started. Suddenly I realized that my heart was not beating regularly, and in fact, it was not really beating at all. Fortunately, I was able to stay calm, and I literally was sending thoughts to my own heart. Come on, get it together. Come on, get back to normal. Come on. I had been swimming quite a bit before that, and I think that's why I was able to focus on my breathing or not breathing without panicking. And so eventually my heart was able to push the blood through to my lungs, and my heart started beating again, and I was able to start breathing again. A good thing, a very, very good thing. My wife, who was the first person to save my life that day, asked me if she should take me to the ER. And with my typical male wisdom, I said, no, it's over now. It's over. I'm good. It's okay. I made it through. Well, fortunately, I started thinking about it a little more, and I realized, well, if we go, maybe they can tell me what the heck that was that just happened, and maybe they could even keep it from happening again, and that would be a good thing. That would be a very good thing. So we set out for the St. Luke's ER, which was our first choice, but also came recommended by my cardiologist. And when we got to the ER personnel immediately started getting information from me, taking little tests, and then they sent me for a CAT scan. After the CAT scan, I was brought back to my little room at the ER, and left alone just for a minute or two. And suddenly the door flung open, and the ER doctor, he burst into the room and he said, oh, thank goodness, you're okay? You're all right? Man, I don't want to scare you, but the radiologist, he called me immediately after doing the test and said, is he still breathing? He said, man, the average embolism, one average embolism, can kill most people. You have multiple major embolisms in both lungs and a saddle embolism, a huge saddle embolism. And he explained that the saddle embolism is when it is located at the split between the left and right lungs, okay? Well, suddenly everything got a lot more intense around me. And I got an immediate upgrade to a room at the ICU. I soon learned that about 95% of all people who get a saddle embolism die of that saddle embolism. In fact, our doctors later told us that they personally only knew maybe a couple people, a young man and a young woman, both athletes, who had survived their saddle embolisms. So I was a little bit of a celebrity around the hospital suddenly. At least I felt like it. Maybe a medical curiosity. Okay, people looking, is that him? That's him. And they'd come, and they wanted to talk to me because I was a rarity, right? The doctors and the nurses in the ICU were fantastic. I'm going to say that again because I want you to know the doctors and the nursing staff at the ICU were fantastic. From the time I got there, I realized that I was in the best place that I could possibly be in my condition. I felt safe. I felt absolutely safe. Probably safer than I should have felt. As it turns out, I found out much later, that my wife had already been told that there was still a 50% chance that I could throw another embolism, and this time it might kill me. Still, she kept a brave face, and she would come and talk to me and tell me, Jeff, honey, you are in the right place. Anything that could possibly happen to you, they can handle it. You are in the best place you could possibly be at right now. And so I felt safe. Then she would go off to the other side of the room and have a quiet conversation on the phone and tell my family how serious my condition was. I was warned to stay still, but I guess I didn't really take that terribly serious. I remember one time just adjusting myself a little bit, and both my wife and the nurse said, "Don't move." I guess that should have been a sign, but I felt safe, so I felt good. They had discovered that the source of the embolisms was a huge blood clot in my left leg. A huge blood clot in my left leg. They still can't explain what exactly caused that blood clot, but we do know that it broke off little pieces that traveled all the way up into my lungs and had been doing so probably since August when I was being diagnosed with bronchitis, until finally that day I got the saddle embolism and I wound up at St. Luke's, okay? Interestingly enough, our doctors tell us that probably because I'm a singer and have developed a lot of alternative pathways for the heart to push that blood through to my loud lungs, is probably why I survived the event. Being a singer saved me. I was in the ICU for 5 days. During that time, I met my new doctors, cardiologist Dr. Neil Strickman, pulmonologist Alberto Colomer, hematologist Michelle Cairo, and many, many doctors and nurses whose names I can't remember, but whose attentiveness and kindness I will never, ever forget. Dr. Strickman is the one who made the decision to do a procedure on me whereby he would stick a catheter in through my groin up to my lungs and inject TPA, a blood thinner, and use an echosonic endovascular system. That was a new device that would also send pulses. It would send pulses that would break down the embolisms. How lucky I was. And I knew it when I found out that very few hospitals in the world even had this device. This device that was part of saving my life. Very few hospitals in the world even have that device. How lucky was I to be at St. Luke's? And I knew it. Now, my wife is not a doctor, but she works in the brain injury field, and she was familiar with TPA. And so she asked, isn't it possible that he could bleed out and have brain damage from using this TPA? And the answer was yes, but we do this or he dies. I'm really glad that I didn't know that at the time. And I'm really sorry that she did. I really feel sorry, and I feel awful for all the things that she had to go through this whole episode. So Dr. Strickman and his team did the procedure, and I came out with my embolisms cleared. I felt better, and I was better. I spent a little more time in the ICU, and then I was moved to the medical surgical floor and slowly prepared to be able to go home. Now, the doctors and nurses in that area were also awesome. And I want to say that I keep mentioning the doctors and nurses, but I know that's just because they're the faces that we interact with. As patients, we see the doctors and nurses. They're the obvious ones. But I want you to know, I'm aware that they are just the faces of the team, and that there is a whole team of people behind them, and the whole team is incredibly important to our survival, to us patients getting the care that we do. And I want to thank you, because in a very real way, each and every one of you is a part of that whole team. So thank you for being part of the team that saved my life. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. All right. When I did go home, I was on oxygen for a little while still, and then I got off the oxygen because I was anxious. I got off the oxygen, and by December 10th, I started in doing shows again. Just a little over a month after the event, I started doing shows again, and my life got to a new normal. New normal, because I still have things happening with my body that we're not quite sure what's causing, okay? What's going on here? And I will probably be on Eliquis blood thinner for the rest of my life, but there is a rest of my life. And I've learned to be very, very thankful for that. Now, back when I was waking up from that procedure, Dr. Strickman, who knew that I was a singer, said, okay, now we need to hear you sing. And I started singing the first line of one of my songs, which seemed rather apropos at the time. I just started singing, every day is a beautiful day when I wake up on the right side of the ground. Thank you. Later on, we wrote the bridge to that song, inspired by my episode. Every day's a beautiful day when I wake up on the right side of the ground. Ain't no thing if the sky is blue or there's thunder and lightning all around. Either way, I'll have another chance to treasure every breath I take. Anytime I see the sun come up, in my mind I'm doing great. Hey, hey, every day's a beautiful day when I wake up on the right side of the ground. wonderful day. I feel lucky and I'm glad to be alive. There's a song in the beat of my heart, and it's got me on a natural high. Haven't always had this peace of mind. Thought I had to have control. Tried too hard to be a happy man. Had to learn to just let go. Whoa, every day is a wonderful day. I feel lucky and I'm glad to be alive. Here's the bridge. Never knew just what I had till it almost slipped away. Now I try to live my life every day. Every day's a beautiful day when I wake up on the right side of the ground. Every day's a beautiful day when I wake up on the right side of the ground. Every day's a beautiful day. Every day's a beautiful day. Every day's a beautiful day when I wake up on the right side of the ground.